Focusing on a handful of Senate races, hoping to take control of that chamber from the Democrats come November. They need 6 seats, and the predictions are changing. Today in Roll Call, the widely followed political analyst Stu Rothenberg writes this: substantial Republican gains seem certain, but while a Republican gain of at least 6 seats seems very possible, those 6 seats are not yet in the bag. We're joined by Yahoo News political reporter Chris Moody and the Weekly Standard staff writer Michael Warren. Great to have you both. And as we approach this topic, Chris, I was taking a look at a few notes that you gave to our producer, and you used an interesting expression to explain why these aren't a sure thing for Republicans. You said in politics you dance with the one who brought you. How does that apply here?
Well, that's right. Look, on paper, Republicans are looking pretty good here coming up to November for the elections in the Senate. But there are 3 states, Pryor, Begich, and Landrieu, who have deep personal ties to the states that they represent, deep multi-generational family where Republican and Democratic families in all these states know those names, and they generally like them. And so Republicans are going to have to overcome this really high name ID that these long-entrenched Democrats have. Now, in order to do that, they're going to have to try their best to tie these Democrats to the Obama agenda as best as they can, while also propping up the name ID of those candidates.
And that's interesting, Michael. How do Republicans best do that? I mean, what is the strategy? If all politics are local, is it going into the races? We just showed a map that showed the funding of money and where it's flowing. That's from American Crossroads, a super PAC that's putting money into some of these states. Is it about local politics, or is it about a national referendum?
Well, that's certainly what Republicans are going to try to do, which is focus on the national politics of this. Focus on the fact that President Obama is at some of the lowest popularity levels that he's been in his entire presidency. A lot of the Democratic agenda is not very popular right now. And if you look at a lot of those states, I mean, Chris is right about those multi-generational ties that those Democrats he mentioned have in those states. But they're also at I would say, dangerous levels for re-election. They're at the mid to low 40s, which is not good, and Stu Rothenberg points out that fact in his column. That's a really hard thing. You got to get 50% in these races, I think, except for Louisiana, which is a separate issue. You got to get 50% to get re-elected, and if they aren't breaking that at this point, it's going to be, I think, difficult. But of course, Republicans are also very good at snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Well, there's so much out there as well, gentlemen, right? I mean, you have a myriad of different scandals. Here we just were talking about the VA. You have foreign policy as well with Israel. You have the IRS. You have immigration. Chris, does there seem to be one emerging issue, regardless of whatever state or region that we're looking at in the country, that seems to be a real driver as we head into November?
I think it's important to look at these things regionally. In a lot of states, you have coal being a major issue, energy. In a lot of the more southern states near the border, immigration is going to be big. I think nationally, the way the Republicans see it, they're still banking on the unpopularity of Obamacare being a big issue. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see Obama start to promote more liberal causes that gives a lot of these moderate-ish Democrats a chance to break free from him and publicly disagree with the president. We might see him do that on energy, as we mentioned, in some of these coal states that allows a candidate like Lonergan Grimes in Kentucky, who's challenging Mitch McConnell, to show some distance with the president. That might show some discord in the Democratic Party, but on a local level, it might help those candidates.
It's an interesting strategy, Mike. Do Republicans have an answer for that? Of course, they don't have the president helping them potentially, as Chris is saying, with their strategy on the ground level. Where do Republicans turn?
Well, I think Democrats, whichever state they are, whatever the issues are, whether it's coal or immigration or whatever, are going to be trying to muddle that Republican message of Barack Obama's unpopular. He supported Obamacare, this particular senator or the Senate candidate, and so that's why you've got to put in new leadership. I think that really is the best Republican message going here, and if they're distracted off of this, if they're talking about, you know, a lot of these southern states like Arkansas, Louisiana, it's a lower income level than the rest of the country. A lot of the Democrats are pushing some of this income inequality stuff. If Republicans get thrown off their message on that, I think they could be in trouble in those states. And so I think their goal is to be focused on Obamacare. We're going to have this new round of insurance premium announcements coming out around October. It's a perfect time for Republicans to seize that message. And look, Obamacare is still unpopular, and these guys like Mark Pryor and Mary Landrieu voted for it.
It's interesting. We're going to have to wait and see then to see what actually comes out as far as the rates going up and what we actually get in the mailbox from some of these insurance providers. Just real quick, We started with the dance. I'm going to ask you guys to make a choice, right? I mean, what do you think is actually going to happen here? Chris, you first, then you, Michael. We're 3 months away from midterms. What is the likely outcome as you see it right now? Chris?
I think no matter what happens, it's going to be by the slimmest of margins. You could possibly have a Republican majority in the Senate come next January, but you got to remember that they're not going to have a supermajority, so they might be able to give President Obama quite a bit of problems, but you're still going to see a lot of the gridlock between the White House and the congressional, or even within the congressional chamber, just as we've seen it in the past couple of years.
All right, the prediction gridlock from Chris. Michael, what do you think?
Well, the Republicans need 6 to take over. I think they're going to get Montana, South Dakota, West Virginia. Those are pretty much off the table. And then I think they're going to probably pick up 2 or 3 out of Arkansas, Louisiana, North Carolina, Alaska. And then they'll pick up a few that are in purple states, places like Iowa, Michigan, maybe even Oregon. So I think that it's very likely that they'll get 6, maybe 7. And if it's a really, really good year, if those premiums are really, really high, then maybe even more. But I do think it's a little too early to tell for sure.
And of course, the big question then, what changes for the rest of us, right? Even if there's new folks in office, what actually changes there in D.C.? Chris, Mike, great to have you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.